there's no complaints here. We just have to take it on the chin, and then hopefully come back and fight here again sometime.
What was it like to take that punch that knocked you down?
Oh well, the punch that you don't see is the punch that gets you. So it was a surprise, but our team showed heart to get back up and to fight on. And I think we put on a more exciting fight than the last fight. So we're happy with making it more exciting. But just the plan that Kev had in place, if I executed it a lot better, it would have been a different fight.
So how does DILLIAN compare to Anthony Joshua?
Pardon?
How does DILLIAN compare to Anthony Joshua?
It's different styles. I feel like DILLIAN was a fighter who came forward and very, I wouldn't say dirty, but he roughed me up, and he did everything he could to get the victory. So, he showed true heart.
Is he on the same level?
Joshua fought a different fight. He fought a fight with keeping me at bay with his jab and sort of distance, whereas Whyte came in and looked for those big shots, which he was able to land.
That first knockdown, Joe, it looked like a replay for a headbutt of some sort, accidental or otherwise. Was there any punch involved in that knockdown, or was it purely his head?
I think from the advice I was given from the team, it was a headbutt, the first knockdown, and then the second one was a...
Did that shake you up a bit, that first knockdown?
Just surprised me when I got back up and carried on.
Joe, what's your kind of feeling about that? Because obviously you got scored 10-8 then to Whyte, and without that, it looks like a draw on the scorecard.
I think it's a round we were winning. I think it was a 10-9 round, and it went from being a 10-9 round to us to a 10-8 round to DILLIAN. And when you talk about that headbutt, I actually think that the effects of that headbutt were suffered in rounds 3 and 4. Joe just wasn't himself. And it wasn't until the 5th round, I believe, he actually had everything going again. He was actually a little dazed from that and shocked when he came back to the corner.
What I mean is there any kind of bitterness on your part then about the results? Obviously you've lost the verdict, and if that round gets scored, if it goes as a headbutt and doesn't get scored as a knockdown.
No, there's no bitter feelings from our team. We did, like I said, we did our best. I did my best. Didn't follow the game plan, but it's live to fight another day. He won on today, and congrats to him.
From your perspective, where you're watching from?
Look, firstly, let me say I'm really, really proud of Joe. I thought he fought a very courageous, a very gallant fight. He dug deep. We had a short camp. It was a good camp, but a short camp. And there were a couple of things that he could have done better on the day, but we knew that DILLIAN was a real physical guy. And I expected him to bring out the best in Joe and make Joe fight, and I think that's the sort of fight we all saw tonight. But I'm very proud of him, and the way that he dug down deep in the later rounds and came back and was an inch away from winning the fight. It was a great fight for the fans. It's a sort of fight that, dare I say it as a trainer, but it's a fight that we need. We needed a real war like that. This is Joe's... The Takam fight was a hard fight, but this was a war tonight, and we were fighting a guy who was very, very hungry, and a guy who, he knew that he was gambling everything in this fight against Joe, and he sucked up some really big punches. His boxing skills actually surprised me a little bit. Like DILLIAN's I'll admit it, he's a better fighter than I thought he was.
Joseph, are you considering your future in boxing?
Where do you go from here? Because you fought a few times in London, and while everyone is booing you come to the ring, you've got a hell of a lot of support here. People like you, they can see you carry yourself well. And, where now?
Well, look, the funny thing is that finding the right comeback opportunity won't be hard. In fact, because I've soaked up, I've seen the event tonight, I've soaked up the response from the public. I was sitting sandwiched between Barry Hearn and Eddie Hearn, so I've been privy to their views on things which I won't share now. But I'm very confident that there'll be a range of great comeback options for Joseph Parker if he wants to come back. And I believe, I've heard nothing to suggest he doesn't. He's a human being, it's his body, so I'm not going to bother him with that stuff. He can go home, meet a newborn baby daughter, relax, have a rest, then we take stock, we analyse the options. But the good news, there are a range, I can guarantee you there's a range of solid comeback options on the table. You know, what do I take over tonight? Joseph's not one to really talk about stuff like this, so I didn't really find out the dressing room, but he said that the head that caught behind the ear shook the balance and equilibrium. Because for me, I've watched all the fights, looking in the eyes, something didn't seem quite right. So, and there's no excuses. DILLIAN absolutely came in as a bully and was tough, and for Joe to hang in there through those middle rounds and then nearly win it at the end. So for me it's frustrating because we're nearly there. You know, had there been another minute we might be celebrating victory, but that's boxing. It's a bitter-sweet and brutal sport, and we've been on the receiving end. We drew some serendipity and luck. So what do? I guess we take stock, he heals his body, clears his head, and we then look at, I'll probably call Eddie to begin, and we look at the options. But so I'm not concerned about the immediate future. There'll be good opportunities. It's really about like when, and we've had a very busy 3 or 4 months. So
what was your question, mate?
Joseph, is giving up boxing something you're considering?
No, but I've had a goal. You know, I still stand by my goals that I have. It'll be great to be, 2-time world champion or unified champion. So I've already, 30, 31, I'm out. But for now, I'm going to go hard and give it everything I have.
You talk about the fact that you were disappointed you didn't execute the game plan tonight. Is there a reason why that didn't happen?
When I try my best to execute the plan, but sometimes when you're in the ring with a solid opponent, he can cause a few things to stop you from trying to execute that plan. And I believe the plan that we did have in place, when a few things where I could have moved better, that we practiced a lot in camp and kept my distance a bit better, it would have been different. But it's hard when you have someone coming forward, putting on a lot of pressure and wanting to bash you.
Joseph.
Just given on that note, you seemed, you're watching there, you seemed quite animated, in the team talk times. What was it like for you watching Joe and knowing what he was capable of in the training and seeing it not potentially being carried out?
Well, obviously I always want Joe to fight his best fight. It's hard to fight the perfect fight, and all the best game plans that you put in place are only as good as the guy in front of you. And as Joe said, DILLIAN Whyte cancelled out a lot of the things that Joe was trying to do. He was very physical, he was very aggressive, and he fought with a lot of hunger. And Joe was putting his combinations together very well, but he was stopping in front of him after he threw the punches, and DILLIAN would just, he'd just fire back. His counters were easy to land. Joe was allowing him to land those body shots in the early rounds, which is something that we worked on in camp, not to allow him to hit Joe to the body.
So what were you saying to him? You seem to be having some quite heated moments.
Well, I think, when you get in a fight like that, when both guys are on the canvas and there's a lot of illegal tactics going on, and it's a tough fight, it's going backwards and forwards, it's very hard to stay relaxed. And I was speaking to Joe very quietly for a start, and as we got into the middle rounds, I thought, okay, now I've got to stir him up a little bit here, and and I was just trying to motivate him through to produce what I know he's capable of.
Joseph, because of the nature of the last round, do you think you deserve a rematch?
Yeah, it'll be great to have a rematch. I think it was a great fight. We threw a lot of punches and knocked each other down, and just depends on what the team's happy with, or if they can make a deal again.
I think a rematch, based on the conversations I've had, and this isn't coming from me, that a rematch is a distinct possibility. I haven't heard a single fan not say it wasn't a great boxing contest, and it went one way then the other, and Joe nearly got there at the end. So we were going in saying it could be fight of the year, and people are certainly saying it's one of the better heavyweight fights of recent times. So I think if we did decide to call for a rematch, we wouldn't be mocked or laughed at. People would say, yeah, that's legit. You take into account that headbutt tilting the scoring to a draw, and then the fact if we had another minute we might have won. We wouldn't, and there's no disrespect to DILLIAN Whyte, I think we could legitimately call for one if we wanted one, and there'd been a few conversations, so you never know. And you know, I don't think anyone would complain if, you know, Whyte Parker 2 was announced.
Joseph, after the Joshua fight, there was a clear sense of frustration in, I guess, how you boxed it. How would you describe your mindset right now about the fight you just had? You know, what's going through your head about that fight?
Listen, I'm happy. You know, I lost to the better man on the day, but I'm excited. I'm still young. There's still a lot of work to be done. You know, I gotta hit the gym again and, you know, keep training hard to get some abs, get more power, and to practice listening better, you know, to the instruction given in the corner.
I'll speak for everyone. You are very, very popular and you got the reaction deserved at the end of the fight. So firstly, does that make you more interested to maybe stay in England as a base for future fights? Also, you had traffic issues before. Did that, I'm not saying it's stupid, obviously no one likes traffic. Did that, was the frustration boiling over in the car?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned it.
It's been 2 hours.
We nearly got up and said we want to walk to the stadium, but that's not. There are no excuses. It's, you know, it's all things happen, and it's for us. It's fantastic that we have good support here, and we mentioned it many times. Very welcome. A lot of people show us love and support when we're walking around, and you know the hotel we're staying at. So whatever makes sense, you know, fight-wise and business-wise, I think we'll love to fight here again.
Yeah, I mean, you go on, gut feeling is we probably would end up back here, I think. But you never know, it is boxing. But yeah.
Has anyone else got a question they're desperate to ask?
Yeah, I mean, with 2 back-to-back losses, is your partnership with KB something you're considering, Joseph?
Our partnership is very strong, and you know, this fight I've taken on the chin. Like there's so much, you know, he can teach you all this, and it's hard for me to execute the plan, you know. And like I said before, if I executed the plan, it'd be different. But it's very hard when you have a great, you know, challenge in front of you. So our partnership is strong. You know, I'm sticking to the team that I have. You know, we've had a big fight with Joshua. We had another big fight with DILLIAN Whyte. So we're just planning, you know, planning and looking forward to the future.
What about you, KB?
Well, I'm a little insulted that you even asked that question. You know, I can't get in the ring and throw the punches for Joe. You know, I give every ounce of energy that I have to this man. I love this man. And my mission is to make him as good as he possibly can be. And I'm totally dedicated and devoted to Joe. You know, we don't just train together in the gym for 1 hour every day. You know, we spend the whole day together every day, 7 days a week. We're a very close team.
It's probably the best DILLIAN Whyte ever fought. And he's a tough guy, and he brought his A. Like he had a 10 out of 10 in tent, and we nearly got over him. So it wasn't actually that bad a night at the office when you analyse it factually.
Do you think DILLIAN should have a point deducted from tactics?
I thought he should have had several points deducted. I'm a little pissed actually. You know, and I talked to Ian about it before the fight. And I said, look, we're not after any favours. We've had a rough time with officials, but let's make it a fair fight. And I said, look, we know this guy's going to punch after the bell. We know he's going to hit Joe in the back of the head. What are you going to do about it? He said, he hits him in the back of the head. I'll caution him and take points off him. I said, really? Did I say that? When we were rapping? I said, we know he's a dirty fighter. Okay, they're his tactics. And it works for him, okay? But I talked to the referee about it and I said, I don't want any favours. Just officiate the fight. And he cautioned him a couple of times. Of course he should have had points taken off, 100%.
You weren't happy with the referee in the Joshua fight, so you're more angry tonight about this referee?
No, I'm a little angry because I had no chance of even speaking to the referee in the Joshua fight. The only question I asked of him, he threw his arms in the air. No, don't understand.
The one where the headbutt. the headbutt was probably a genuine mistake. So with the Joshua fight, I think the referee actually tried to hinder our side and actually consciously favoured Joshua. That's my opinion. Tonight, I think Ian John Lewis probably thought it was. I'd put it more in the mistake category than the deliberate category.
David, you said this week that a second loss for Joseph would be very difficult for him to come back from. How will he come back from?
Well, it's a good question. It's how you lose is a big part of it, and we lost in the best possible way because of the sheer heart with that headbutt, the eardrum, the equilibrium, fighting on, nearly getting over in the 12th round. All the British fans I'm talking to are saying mass respect. And so it's funny like that. And then I'm aware of commercial things that I can't really talk about, but the comeback opportunity won't be difficult. It's really a matter of getting things right. I mean, obviously the short camp wasn't ideal, but we chose to take it, so we own it. We won't use that as an excuse. But next time we'll have a rest and probably plan it with a long camp and pick the right opponent, and we'll be back. I mean, Derek Chisora was criticised for he took a few losses and that, and look what he did tonight. People had written him off. Klitschko had 3 losses before his 10-year reign as world champion. It's about how you come back. So whether we're done yet is up to Joseph Parker, not me, but I haven't heard anything to suggest that he changing his plan from fighting on to the age of 30 or 31 or whatever.
What if there is another opportunity quite close to this date? Happens to be the right option, would you take it?
We discuss it as a team and weigh it up, and if we decide to take it, we take it. But we analyse and make our mind up at the time.
Right, guys, it's getting late. Should we have lucky last from Joy?
David, you